If you're in your early 60s, 70s, or even well into your 80s and have found that intimacy is no longer part of your life, I want to share something that might really surprise you. Stopping sexual activity isn't just about giving up a source of pleasure. It touches your heart, your mind, and your sense of being connected to the world around you. If no one has ever put this into words for you, please allow me to say it now. Walking away from closeness can quietly take away your health, your spark, and even your reasons for getting up each day. My name is Dr. John. For more than 3 decades, I've helped men and women find renewed well-being after 60. And in that time, I've learned that sexual connection isn't just something extra. It's truly important for healthy aging. You might be thinking, it's too late for me, or maybe you feel that side of life is behind you. But here's the truth. When intimacy goes away, 4 real changes, physical and emotional, can begin, and many people don't realize it until much later. But the encouraging news is this: it is never too late to reignite that side of yourself. In this video, I'll show you how, and in just a moment, we'll talk about the most unexpected risk of all. But before we start, if this message means something to you, I'd be grateful if you'd subscribe and tap the bell icon so you won't miss future videos that are meant to help you stay healthy, strong, and connected as the years pass. If what you hear speaks to you, please type a 1 in the comments. If not, sharing a 0 will help me understand how to serve you better. Now, let's begin with the first, and maybe the most hidden, way that the loss of intimacy can affect you after 60. How it quietly changes your mind, your memory, and even your sense of joy and purpose. First, your mind may grow older quicker than it has to. I still recall seeing a patient many years ago. Fred, at 73, was a retired teacher who came to see me because he was struggling with forgetfulness and trouble concentrating. He told me, "Doc, my mind just isn't what it was." On the surface, nothing really stood out. No clear sign of memory disease or any other illness. But after some honest conversations, Fred shared something important. Since his wife's passing, he hadn't been close with anyone, not even once, for almost 5 years. It's easy to overlook that fact. Many do, but science, and my own experience, tells a different story. When intimacy is missing, the brain loses an important source of stimulation. Sexual closeness boosts blood flow, especially to the brain's memory and emotion centers. During these moments, your body releases chemicals like dopamine, oxytocin, and endorphins, all of which lighten mood, ease stress, and protect the brain as it ages. Without this boost, the mind can slow down. It's more difficult to focus. Your drive and energy wane. Most importantly, the risks of memory decline, and even early dementia can begin to rise. I would never claim that intimacy is the cure for everything, but when it's missing for months or years, your mind misses out on a deep human source of energy. But this isn't just about youth or performing. Its root is connection. No matter what form it takes, being close to someone, whether that's gentle touch, sharing time, or simply holding hands, keeps your emotional self engaged. Without it, many people start to pull away from social life, grow less curious, and even start letting go of their own self-care. This isn't just a feeling, it's a real change in the brain. That's why I care so much about this subject. Once this decline begins, it can be hard to undo. But with the right steps, you can absolutely keep your mind alert, sharp, and emotionally well through your 80s and beyond. While your mind might show the first signs that intimacy is missing, your body doesn't stay quiet for long either. There's something that begins inside, a physical shift that's easy to overlook, but just as important to notice. Let's talk about what happens to your blood flow, your physical strength, and your body's hormone balance when closeness disappears. Second, your body slowly loses healthy circulation and the right hormone mix. There was a couple I met, Betty and Steve, each in their mid-60s. They'd spent nearly 40 years together, but over the past 5 years, their connection had drifted away. "We thought that time of our lives had ended," Betty told me in a gentle, uncertain voice. Steve nodded, but admitted he didn't feel himself anymore. He'd lost strength, gained some weight, and he told me he just felt older than he should. When we looked more closely, one thing stood out. They hadn't shared any physical intimacy in some time. What I've seen again and again is this. When closeness fades, especially after 60, the body loses some of its natural harmony. The healthy rise in heart activity and blood flow that comes with touch and affection weakens. Blood travels more slowly. Vessels lose their flexibility. Even your heart and brain get less oxygen. Intimacy is more than pleasure. It's its own kind of movement for the body, raising blood activity, supporting healthy lungs, and building a stronger heart. Without it, your body feels that absence, sometimes deeply. But for both men and women, the bigger change is in hormones. For men, going without intimacy can cause testosterone to fall, leading to low energy, more weight, irritability, and sometimes even sadness. For women, key hormones like estrogen and oxytocin fall, bringing a higher risk of bone loss, joint discomfort, and up and down moods. These aren't just small changes. They can lead to less movement, cause you to lose your independence, and have lasting effects on your health. What worries me most is how quietly these shifts creep in. It's not like you wake up one day and everything's different. It sneaks up on you. You walk a bit slower, lose interest in exercise, have trouble sleeping, gain weight, and might just decide it's simply old age. But the truth is, much of this could be traced right back to lost connection and touch. You might not realize it, but you don't need intercourse to benefit from connection. Even caring touch, closeness, and deep emotional sharing can wake up healthy hormone pathways. It's not about performance, but about presence and caring. The longer you go without that, though, the harder it becomes to come back into balance. As troubling as these physical changes can be, they don't reach the true heart of the loss. Because when intimacy goes silent, it's not only your body that feels it, it's your very sense of self, your feeling of being valuable to another. And that's a hurt that often cuts much deeper and lasts far longer than we admit. Let's gently talk about what starts happening to your most important relationships and how you feel about yourself when touch, affection, and closeness slowly drift away. Third, your partnerships and even your self-worth may quietly begin to fade. There's a certain kind of quietness I've noticed in many couples who've shared a life for decades. A pause, a heaviness that sits between them. It isn't loud. There's no anger, just a gentle sadness. I remember a conversation with a woman named Alice, 73, whose husband had survived serious illness. The experience left its mark, and physical closeness all but ended. She looked at me and quietly said, "I don't want him to feel any pressure. Still, I miss feeling a loving hand." Tears filled her eyes as she added, "I miss knowing I'm a partner, not just a caretaker." That unspoken distance, physical and emotional, can slowly wear away even the strongest bonds. When intimacy slips away, for any reason, people often stop reaching out. They stop believing they are still wanted. They start to feel invisible, unseen by the one who once knew their true self. Over time, this loneliness can settle in deeply. Sometimes it shows up as silent frustration or even shame. One partner may believe the other no longer finds them appealing, while the other might quietly battle guilt, disappointment, or fear. Most couples don't talk about it. They accept the change, keep living side by side, but the warmth is missing. Two kind people sharing a home, but living more like housemates than two souls truly joined. And if you're single or on your own, this loss is no less real. If you believe you no longer deserve love or closeness, you can retreat, not only in what you want, but in who you are. You may give up that part inside you that still wants to be cared for, to be important to someone else. That shrinking sense of worth can't be measured on a chart, but it steals away years of happiness and even health from your life. What troubles me most is how hidden this wound is. You might be surrounded by family, yet feel emotionally empty. You could be a devoted spouse, yet still feel unwanted. That emptiness over years can lead to sadness, worry, drawing away from life, and sometimes to serious health problems too, because the heart, at any age, is not made to live alone. But the most wonderful thing I can share with you is this: it doesn't have to remain this way. Even the smallest step, a kind word, a gentle touch, a bit of honesty, can start to heal what feels broken. I've seen couples in their 70s rediscover laughter, flirt again, and fall anew into love, not because their bodies were as strong as before, but because they were brave enough to reach for one another. Still, for all that this matters emotionally, the next truth might be the most serious of all. Losing intimacy can touch more than your mind, body, or heart. It may even hold the power to shorten your life itself. Let me share what years of studies have shown. Fourth, without knowing it, you may be shortening your life. Not long ago, I cared for a man named Frank. He was 80, proud, full of energy, and still quick-witted. But what set him apart wasn't his numbers or test results. It was the way he seemed so alive, especially compared to others his age. I asked him once what he believed kept him going. He grinned and replied, "Every morning I joke around with my wife. Every night we hold each other close. And even now and then," he chuckled, "we make love." For Frank, it wasn't just about the act. It was about the connection, the spark, the pure joy of simply being alive and feeling cared for. What Frank may not have realized is that science keeps proving this same point. Older adults who keep some form of sexual closeness, even gentle touch and affection, tend to live longer. I'm not talking about youthful levels of activity, but the simple acts of closeness, hugs, hand-holding, shared laughter. These acts release helpful chemicals, lower inflammation, quiet the stress response, and protect the heart. In fact, a respected study out of England found that seniors who were regularly intimate had clearly lower death rates. This isn't just my opinion. It is real, measurable truth. A touch, a hug, even basic closeness not only comforts us, it extends the years and quality of our lives. Losing that touch, on the other hand, can slowly send your body the other way. Stress lingers. Sleep is no longer restful. Your immune system grows weaker. You might feel more alone, struggle with motivation, and lose interest in getting out into the world. These changes are not simply emotional. Doctors can measure them. And yes, they can affect how long and how well you live. Many people accept these changes as just part of getting older, but so often, the true start is the fading of real human connection. We are built to thrive on touch, on being close. Without it, whether by accident, habit, or necessity, you raise your risk for illness, sadness, and unfortunately, leaving too soon. I know it sounds serious, but I have seen this unfold too many times. But I've also witnessed something deeply inspiring. People in their 70s and 80s rekindling connection and truly changing, not just how they feel, but how they live each day. The potential is within you, no matter how long it's been hidden by distance, pain, or self-doubt. And that leads me to perhaps the most important truth. No matter how long it's been, no matter how far away closeness feels at this moment, you absolutely can rediscover it. Let's talk about how to gently begin again, because the door is never really closed. Fifth, it is always possible to start fresh. One woman I'll always remember was named Rose. She came to me at 77, calm and dignified, but with a soft tremble to her voice. She quietly told me, "I miss feeling like a woman. Not a grandmother, not a patient, just a woman." It had been almost 10 years since she'd felt any form of genuine affection, and deep down, she believed that chapter of life was finished. But what Rose, and so many others, couldn't know is this. The human spirit is always able to come alive again, no matter how many years have gone by. If you're 61 or if you're 91, whether your last touch was months or decades ago, the simple truth is that intimacy remains possible for as long as you live. Your desires might change, and your body may not respond exactly as before, but connection, real, meaningful connection, does not have an expiration date. Finding that closeness again does not start with big gestures. Sometimes it begins as simply as a conversation, a gentle squeeze of the hand, a moment of laughter, a steady gaze, sharing a truth, a whispered, "I miss you." These small acts can open new doors, even if you believed they were locked forever. For couples who have grown apart, the first attempt to reconnect can feel uncomfortable, even scary. But every single time someone tries, I've watched them come out on the other side lighter, filled with more hope and feeling more united than they believed possible. And if you're alone, single, or widowed, please know this is for you as well. Reconnecting often starts with your own self. Your body still deserves kindness. Your heart still wants and can welcome affection, friendship, or even the idea of loving again. The way forward is always open if you wish to take it. The question is not, can I have it back? But, will I give myself permission to try? I have worked with so many, some living with illness, others struggling with fears or shame, and many just too used to going without. But when they gave themselves a chance to begin, sometimes quietly, sometimes with great courage, a change happened. Their spirits lifted, their bodies responded, and, most of all, they began to feel alive again. You are not too old. You are not too late. Your story has more to offer, and your next chapter may hold some of your greatest joys yet. So, I invite you to wonder, if you knew that just one small first step could bring back energy, happiness, and love, what might stop you from taking it? Let's finish with the truth. I hope you'll keep close for years to come. Sixth, conclusion. If you've listened this far, thank you. Not just for your time, but for your openness. This isn't an easy topic. Speaking about closeness, getting older, or matters of the heart can bring up all sorts of feelings, sadness, longing, even regret. But after working with older adults for decades, I can tell you this for certain. The longing to be alive, to be connected, to be truly seen, it never fades. It may get hidden beneath years or pain, but it remains. Today, we've talked about how the mind slows down when intimacy fades, how your body's blood flow and hormones weaken, how relationships quietly drift, and, yes, how even your time on this earth can be changed. These aren't little things. They are big, life-shaping changes. And yet, running through all of these risks, there's a powerful message. Nothing is final. I've watched couples reconnect after decades apart. I've met widowers and widows finding love again in their 70s. I've helped men find confidence they thought had disappeared and seen women discover they are still beautiful, still wantable, and still worthy of softness. What do all these brave people have in common? They chose to let themselves begin again. This isn't about turning back the clock. It's about reclaiming the part of life that belongs to you, closeness, joy, and connection. These aren't reserved for the young. If anything, they mean more as years pass, because they feed your spirit just as they support your body. No matter where you are right now, happily married, facing struggles, alone, or somewhere in between, I hope you feel reminded that your path isn't finished. There remains space for happiness, for warmth, for growing together or growing within yourself. If even a small part of you whispers, "Perhaps I could try," I hope you listen. You don't have to change everything in an instant. You don't need the perfect plan. All it takes is one step, maybe a single conversation, one caring touch, or just allowing yourself to hope again. You are not finished, not by a long shot. And if you haven't heard it lately, please remember, you deserve to feel alive, loved, and wanted, not years from now, not only in your memories, but today. Let this moment mark a new beginning. The richest part of your life story may still be waiting to be lived. If you found meaning in these words, please give this video a like, share it with someone who could use it, and leave a comment below. Whether it's a simple one, to say you connected with the message, or a personal story. Your words matter, and you never know whose heart you might touch.